What's up, ladies and gents? Hope you are all doing well. Today I'll be going over something which I myself struggle with. Sometimes I have struggled with this previously in the past a lot more than I do now, but I still do trip up here and there because, as you know, old habits are quite difficult to get rid of. This little devil in question is, of course, dead time. What I mean by dead time is time that is used, or should we say wasted, on unproductive, purposeless things, activities, which are taken away from the time you could be putting into something that is going to get you closer to your goal. But now it's important to distinguish between dead time and simply relaxation or purposeful procrastination. The important keyword here is purpose. If, for example, you are using your phone to text someone about something that has meaning, a purpose, such as scheduling a lunch in with your work colleague or simply catching up with a friend, that obviously has purpose. But if you are simply swiping and browsing your Instagram feed while you are waiting in the queue in a coffee shop, that most likely is a purposeless activity and therefore most likely generates dead time. In the latter case, instead what you could be doing is actually being there with your thoughts, being in the moment and being present. Or you could also strike up a conversation with the person next to you and not wasting your attention and time on looking through your phone. This is a very rare thing to have nowadays, having the time to be with your thoughts without having distractions. So making use of these moments is very, very important. It's a good habit to get into. So without further ado, let's go over a few of those dead time generating activities which you most likely have in your life. I certainly do. And look at the ways that we can simply minimize the dead time that is generated, or perhaps even eliminate those activities altogether from your life. The first contestant is oversleeping. It seems like 99% of the world, or maybe not so much, maybe I am just trying to justify why I get into this bad habit myself a lot, is struggling with oversleeping. So to give you an example, oversleeping by just 1 hour a day sums up to 7 hours a week. That is 7 hours every week that you could be doing something more productive. And that could be spending time with your family, getting work done, or even doing the workouts that you say you don't have enough time to do. It's enough time to get a lot of stuff done, let's be honest. Now, I am not judging, but you do have to be honest with yourself when it comes to this. There isn't a perfect formula when it comes to the length of sleep, because there are many factors that play a key role. Your age, your gender, your physical health, how well you slept throughout this whole week. All those factors will play a key role when it comes to how much sleep you actually need as a person on that specific night. However, there is a good metric to go by when it comes to sleep, and that is sleep cycles. Now, this method isn't perfect. It will be slightly different for different people, but it is estimated that one sleep cycle takes about 90 minutes of time. The sleep cycle means you are going through all the stages of sleep, going through the rapid eye movement stage, which means you are in your most restorative stage of sleep. Typically, an adult needs between 4 to 5 sleep cycles a night. However, it is best to think of sleep cycles in terms of weeks rather than days. So if you do the maths, it is between 28 to 35 sleep cycles a week. And that comes to about 6 to 7.5 hours of sleep a night if you want to divide it equally. However, you also want to give yourself time to actually fall asleep. So let's add 30 minutes onto this whole sleep in one night. And that comes to about 6.5 to 8 hours of sleep a night. Now, this isn't a perfect formula. Just like I said, it really differs person by person, but it is a good metric to go off of. So once again, just to reiterate, it is important to listen to your body when it comes to this sleep problem. The second culprit is screen time before bed. The exposure of blue light before you go to bed. This is awful. And if I said that oversleeping is one of the worst habits that I'm naming today for me, I lied. It is this one. Whether it's catching up on messages before you go to bed, still doing some work, or actually being somewhat good and trying to study or learn or read articles, this isn't the best way to do it. The reason is you are really exposing yourself to blue light just before you go to bed. And in simple terms, it's getting your mind from the point of, okay, I'm getting ready to go to sleep. I'm in that, I want to sleep mood to, hey motherfucker, feed me some more blue light. I am active. I don't want to go to sleep. It's no secret that too much blue light disturbs the natural process of producing melatonin, which essentially tells your body, hey, I am ready to go to sleep. Let's go. As well as that, you probably are not doing anything that's that important with your time when it comes to screen time before bed. And if you are actually doing something that's important, there is a high chance that this thing can actually wait till the morning. You are more likely to produce better results when you wake up in the morning early, ready to tackle the day, get those things done, or you actually might just simply be wasting time doing something that's totally meaningless just before going to bed. This one is really a difficult habit to eliminate. I'm not saying this one is going to be easy, especially if you live with other people in your accommodation, or you simply spend a lot of time in your bedroom because you have to. It's not the easiest thing to eliminate. However, there are a few things you can do. One of those things is keeping your phone away from your bed, really forcing yourself not to actually look at your phone before you go to bed. If you set yourself like a schedule, so you say, okay, I am not looking at any devices, whether that be my phone or laptop after 8 p.m. and really stick to it. Force yourself. There is no other way. If you want to get more screen time in a day, simply wake up earlier. That is your goal. If you do that, you are more likely to actually teach yourself not to take your phone to bed. And in that case, also, if you rely on your phone for the alarm, you don't want to buy one of those old clunky alarm clocks, then trying to put your phone somewhere at the end of the room, not only is it going to make you less attracted to using that phone before you go to bed, it most likely will influence how you wake up. So you will have to get out of bed to turn the alarm off, so you're more likely to get out of bed, wake up, start the day right. Another good habit to try to tackle this bad habit is to teach yourself to pick up a book, ideally fiction, to set your mind free and just roam around in your imagination before you go to bed. It is quite likely that when you start reading, in bed especially, and you're in this position where you're, kind of lying down, you are reading, and probably halfway through the hour, half an hour later or 15 minutes later, your brain tells you, oh, I actually feel sleepy. And it's much easier to sleep than being on your phone, because your phone will produce so many attention grabbing things, notifications. There's something on Instagram that's like super interesting, and there is an email that came through. With a book, you're simply letting your mind roam around in your imagination, and you are losing yourself. You're not overly thinking about things. You are letting yourself just be in the moment, being present in the book, and simply letting your mind tell you, hey, I'm sleepy. I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes we tend to just hover around thinking, okay, what do I do next? And the most likely cause of that is because you do not have a plan. So not planning ahead is one of the dead time generating habits as well. So obviously here, not knowing what you are doing next is more likely to result in you either just hovering around and doing nothing, procrastinating, and that time adds up in the long run, or you slipping into behaviors which are not very valuable and don't really contribute to your long-term goals. Although it can take a good 10 to 15 minutes each day, I would suggest, in order to battle this bad habit, you set some time aside to not only review your day at the end of that specific day before you go to bed, grabbing a piece of paper and thinking about what have I done today, and also starting the day with good intentions, with sitting down in front of a piece of paper, in front of your whiteboard, listing a few key intentions, a few key tasks that you are trying to get done today. So that obviously sets you up and gives you a thing that you have in your face for the whole day, so you can't get away from it. This is something that will keep telling you, no, you are not allowed to go on Instagram right now or watch this YouTube video because you need to get this done first. Not only would I suggest doing this review setting and intention setting every single day, I would urge you to actually do it every week perhaps, and even a month, to think about the long-term goals. Doing this kind of a thing regularly is going to really set you up for doing something great and getting things done. And it will help with daily planning as well, because you can take those big goals and break them up into smaller goals that you can then give yourself every single day or week. The next one is multitasking. So if someone tells me they can multitask, I will call bullshit. I mean, okay, they might be able to multitask, but can they actually do it effectively and efficiently? Are they actually creating the best results that they could? Highly unlikely. In order to get into the state of deep work, you really cannot multitask. You need to have 100% focus on that specific thing. Not only does that go hand in hand with the philosophy of being mindful in the moment, being present, which will probably influence the joy that you are having from completing this specific task, it also means that you are likely to produce better results, being a bit more efficient with your time that you put into this specific task, which in the long run can save you a lot of hours. Think back to a time when you were doing something and you kept getting distracted. That could be by someone simply nagging for your attention. It could be your phone, coming up with all these different notifications, and you are really trying hard to focus on this one specific thing. And every single time you get disrupted, then you feel like it takes moving mountains to get you back into doing that specific task. It probably took you about 30 minutes alone to get back into doing that task after you got distracted in the first place. When you are doing something, give that specific task your undivided attention. Give it your everything. Be really, really focused on that one specific thing. Of course, you do want to take breaks, but if you feel like you are in the state of flow, if you are really doing well, there is no reason why you should be breaking that flow. Eradicate this false sense of pride that our society has built about being able to multitask on many different things. Unless you are working in a circus, then there is no reason why you should be juggling, singing, and spinning plates at the same time. Really, just focus on one of those things and do them to the best ability that you can at one time. Doing boring manual tasks like reading emails, manual finances, or scheduling meetings. Now, just upfront, sometimes the boring task does indeed need to be done. You might need to actually complete it because someone is counting on it. You might complete it because it feeds into the bigger goal. But in the case that it isn't, and you are simply doing it to justify to yourself that you're doing something, whereas actually this specific boring task only feeds into like 10% of your goal, where like 50-60% of your goal is made up of something that's super important that you need to get done now, but instead you focus on this boring manual thing because it gives you a false sense of accomplishment. Now, a great solution for this one is to actually set up yourself with a priority list. So when you're doing your to-do list, you should actually give priorities and importance of completing this specific task to each single task. So then you will know that, okay, this task is really important because if I don't do it, there is no freaking way I'm going to achieve this big, grand goal. And then you might set yourself a importance level of, okay, this task, you know what, I love to do it. It'll make life a little bit easier, but it's going to take such a long time and it's really not that important. And that really highlights to you what is important, where should your attention go, which are the tasks that you can really do without. The other good thing you can do here is to set up a routine where you actually complete the very important tasks early on in the day. So you force yourself to get the important stuff done as soon as possible. So then if you do actually slip into doing some crappy unimportant stuff in the afternoon, at least you have done a little bit of good important tasks already. Now, that doesn't justify you slipping into these behaviors, so you do have to obviously keep an eye out for that, but at least it kind of balances the two out in the long term. The other thing you could be doing here with these boring manual tasks is seeing which ones can be automated. So maybe there are certain activities that you do that you might need to do. You know, you do still have to read emails. You probably still do have to do your finances. Perhaps on the latter, there's a way of using some kind of software, or I don't know, hiring someone who can get this thing done much faster than you can. And that allows you to not worry about this specific task and having that extra free time that you can focus on doing something more meaningful. Being too rigid. Sometimes it really just isn't your day. Have you ever tried to focus on a task and everything is just annoying you? You simply can't focus. That fly is so annoying, it's so loud. You know, the kids outside are being way too loud, you can't focus. That textbook is just printed way too small, you can't study because it's way too small. Well, you know, sometimes everyone gets those days once in a while. To paraphrase a great saying, do what's hard when it's easy. What I mean by that, to put it simply, is when a task is really requiring a lot of attention, a lot of extra attention, because the environment is not the best, let's say, you might just want to move on if you can and come back to this task, I don't know, an hour later, a day later, when you are in a state of mind. Also be aware, if this specific scenario is happening to you a lot, then maybe your body is actually trying to tell you something. Maybe you are genuinely overworking yourself and you're simply burning out, and your body is telling you that you actually need to relax a little bit, give yourself time to, you know, recover and get yourself into the mind state of being more ready to approach these specific tasks. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have, I would appreciate if you left a thumbs up. If you are struggling with any of these bad habits, if you simply just leave a comment below, tell me what it is, or if you have any other ways of dealing with these bad habits, that would be perfect. Just share in the comments section below. If you're enjoying these videos, I would appreciate if you could subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Peace and love.